Sashi
Pege Joji Meto Tang Sangye Jindu Mite Luaye Logunandashi Jabajo Mandala Tani Tayami
Sangye
Janjo Padu Tani Jasoche Tagi Chingi
Sangye
Jalanzoye Jonama Janjo Padu Tani Jasoche Tagi Chingi Sangye Chupajo Jalanzoye Jonama Janjo Padu Tani Jasoche Tagi Chingi Jola Penche Sangye Chupajo
Tadi Devajavata Primitavata Diriva Devajavas Gaji Capture Setita Yeselum Gajati Do a telling that is needed that the Yellow culture is designated Gaji Capture Timba that did it. That is the gadget beyond the Elisha Ticaresina Lungle, knitting in the sunshine, long to suit, Shiji to Gune, teach here.
So we are on page 127. So it says up the top there, stating others' assertions. So we've got to that point in the text. And so we know here that it's talking about the mistaken assertion that everything is to be negated. And so here when it says the stating others' assertions, so what that means is that those people who assert that everything which exists is the object of negation, everything has to be negated. They have certain scriptures that they point to and say these scriptures are the source of this position.
Tade umbe demawa deva pejiwa narista tade ume demawa denyegi kasa pebo chis pechiwa diisigeri tade tad jidan umasya didiri umasya daje tani de tele usya di umasya di Umabaset Umawasi Usiati Tani the Uti Kelly Umabas Uta Odi that Uma Tade Umabe Umawan to Pagin Nari Siati Dida Umasiati Jim Breakasuri Taji Tani the Chida Udila Mambu Usiri, Chida Udila Umaba Usiatida Marandi Tanis Manu Cheguri Sergi Shed Chigierba, the Sambu Sambuchin Sunday Kenny, and a jig Tachil Mayaji. Tayan Betty Jobabe Greeny Tajil Mayacherba, Marandi Tanitan Manua Cheguri Situzamba Sergiari. This is Sergi Ben Arandu Sergiari Pena. Young Nish to Beta Sergita. Any Karasubri. Doba swinging the Tassia, Duana Jena, Tiny the Java said, Doba swinging the Tassia. 예시 투비 타니 지세야지를 따단들디 타세디 따제기 타니들 되와서 디안 따제기 타니 있어야지 우마베 따제기 타니 있어야지 따다디가 딘루 체다디가 타니도 매바스 다기 따제기 타니 있어야지 따바시도 엠바투스나 엠바투버티 따타리 엠바투번 지수나 따다를 홍시 아니 준제 매바 캐내는 체다를 홍시 제사 준제 매바티 체다지 야 엠바투버티 따다지 딩이드 대의세디 어디 음마바스 지단 음마바스야 되듯이 다지기 다니들 음마바스 음마스야 돼 샘잠바스야 지야르바 샘잠바티 최탐제 심기 다니도 그거 켈리 바인사 샘잠바스야르바 디나시 음마바스야 돼 다지기 다니들 음마레 간사들 음마바스야 음마바스나 other than that, Uma said.
No. Right at the beginning there, it says, most of those who today claim to teach the meaning of Madhyamika. So that we're looking at that phrase there. So now so we have the word in Tibetan, Pongche, so that's been correctly translated here because it means most people who have this assertion. So then this expression Madhyamika, or actually it says Madhyamaka, who claim to teach the meaning of Madhyamaka. So Madhyamaka, so we have the Tibetan term Umapa or Umamawa. So Umawa. So you've got like we could translate that into English as centrist or middle way philosophers, because you could say center or middle, right? So anyway, so centrists or proponents of the center, those are equivalent. So what is this center? This is something that I want to talk a little bit about. Generally speaking, when we talk about the center, we're talking about the center or the middle, free of extremes, free of two extremes. And so when we use this, we do use this expression in a way, it comes up in the Vinaya. We talk about being like middle way, avoiding extremes of luxury and like, I don't know what you might call deprivation or something. So, like being moderate. There's that kind of this connotation of being moderate, avoiding extremes. So it's in the case of the here when we talk about Madhyamaka, the center that we're talking about is free of the two extremes of which are stated as the extreme of so like the literally like the permanent extreme. The permanent extreme would be things being truly existent. Then the other extreme is the nihilist, or the extreme of annihilation, the extreme of nihilism, which would be things not even existing conventionally. So those are the two extremes, and just moderate, if that's the right word. Anyway, but, that's the word we would use normally, isn't it? I think moderate, like not avoiding extremes anyway. So when you believe or grasp that grasp everything as being truly existent, that would mean that you've fallen to the extreme of the permanent extreme, or the eternalist extreme, sometimes people call it. literally, tatta. So we have that expression falling to an extreme. It's a little bit clumsy. Maybe there's a better way of translating that, but that's how it's usually translated. And then if you grasp things as not, like grasp phenomena as not even existing conventionally, then that means you've gone to the extreme or fallen to the extreme of nihilism, fallen to the nihilist extreme. So what I'm doing here is I'm talking about why they are called madhyamikas. So like in the case of the Chittamatras, the mind only, they're called mind only because they say everything is in the nature of mind. So just like that here, these philosophers are called the madhyamikas or the centrists because they assert a center or a middle free from these two extremes.
Thank you very much. Tabe thar tu batesi. Ana ngobu tabar tasune tabthas res tabar tharba tabe thandere tabar zimbarba. Ine ta thar tu bati karesena ni ngobu tabar tu bas tus tu banjesuna tabe thar tu batere ta thar tu batere ne tati cheda dile tata se tempat tu banjir suna tata la rungu se ti tabe thati tiendu bla chebe ane chebe thati thani tu meba la se odi meba di lende meba ta suna cheda la rungu se tati tata le ti kandej kubure se lende yeba chebe ene tembar matube ting lende chele ma chesona ani taji thani de tewa ilti ne da umma siati ani shada jabe in pene yoba khala tene tembar tu de tembar matune never esita chikhale tu chikhale tu ya mare rashi guna rashi matuna me yenan rashi tu dure situ tamba chikhale se me bche ta dare uma ba se ti rashi gi me de te ne yoba jo thuni tira uma ba ma ta uma se ti mata di
in our practice of the Dharma, we need also to be moderate. There's another word. I don't remember. Moderate. In other words, we need to avoid moderation. I think I called it moderation. Yeah. So it's moderate. We need moderation. In other words, to avoid extremes. So what that means is that whether we're thinking about food, clothing, where we live, bed, and so forth, if these are all very elaborate and everything very extensive, then this is not very good because it creates an obstacle for our practice. Likewise, if we insist on very poor food and clothing and where we live and so on, the bedding and so forth, this is also an obstacle. So, for example, if we go for the too extensive and too elaborate, then actually I don't need to say the word too anyway. If we go for like something extensive and elaborate, then we end up having to spend a lot of time thinking about that, and a lot of energy has to go into that, and that creates an obstacle. And likewise, if we go to the other extreme, then this is an obstacle. We won't be able to practice because we need to nourish our bodies. And so if we if we go to that other extreme, we won't be doing that, and therefore we won't be able to practice. So that's the sort of usual idea of avoiding extremes, not being extreme in your in those areas, food and clothing and so on. So now here it's not, when we're talking about being following a middle way between extremes, avoiding extremes, then we're not talking about that. Here, for example, in the case of the Prasangikas, they talk about a middle way that avoids the two extremes of permanence and the nihilism. But now, when we talk about the permanent extreme, what they're really talking about in the Prasangika is the ultimate permanent extreme, because just grasping at things which are impermanent as being permanent, that's not what they're talking about here. It's when you grasp things as being truly existent that you would be said to have fallen to the extreme of permanence. So that's like the ultimate permanent extreme. So then grasping things as being truly existent means you would have fallen to the extreme of permanence, the ultimate permanent extreme, and then thinking that things don't exist at all, not even conventionally, then you have fallen to the nihilist extreme. And so, for example, in the case of karma and its results, we need to practice that by understanding that conventionally karma and its results do exist, but don't exist truly or by their own nature. So many people have trouble with this, in the sense that they think that if something doesn't exist by its own nature, then it must mean that it doesn't exist at all. If it exists, if you say something exists, well, then that must mean that it exists by its own nature. So they're not able to think exists conventionally, but doesn't exist by its own nature. They think exists by its, if it doesn't exist by its own nature, it doesn't exist at all. If it does exist, then it has to exist by its own nature. So a Madhyamika, a proponent of the center, a centrist, or proponent of the middle way, can't really say middle wayist, can you? Middle way philosopher, is somebody who is able to understand things exist in that center in such a way that they are free from those two extremes, the nihilist extreme and the permanent extreme.
That thank you very much. Shisha channel, Rangiba Mencheti, Tata Luari. Rangiba Mencheti, Ramana to buy you, Sintaba. Shitting your Ramana to buy yes, Tata Luari. Thank you, Velula, Tata Ramana to Bati, Tata Shelly. Tiny to you, but the tiny to me with the Chetalice. Tati Umarangiba Mencheti, Tata Nevache. Umaragi Shisha Jevin. Yamban maybe think the judge nam shot table king. Tati symptom of majeti, Tata never. Symptom of majeti, temper to a year here. Just some Umar Algibe Taji Tani Siati, Java Uite. Temper may judge nam shot tevati. Killing by Sata Umasi. That thank you very Taji Tani Siati. Rangun Matu thing, judging them shall table the killing by some Taji Tani to do the never. Oda Diasa Umasiati Umatingu Bagi Umasiati Gares and the Carriers, the tiny Mitigares, G. the Batupatisha. G. Tiny to Meva the Chibari, Cheddar the tiny to Meva the J. That you got the table with killing. That is that is Umasiati Shatandi. Thank you very much, teacher. Thank you very much, teacher. Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Kanga. Tata language. Yes, thank you very much, symptom of me, Tata language. Oh, my Maris,
According to the so within the Madhyamika system, within the system of the middle way, you have the Prasangikas and the Swatantrikas. According to the Prasangikas, all of the systems below them, Swatantrika, in other words, Swatantrika downwards, they are all assert the permanent extreme, because they all say that everything exists from its own side. If it exists, it exists from its own side. And that, namely existing from its own side, is the permanent extreme for the Prasangika system. Yeah, the permanent extreme means existing from its own side. So since they say everything exists from its own side, therefore they fall onto the, they assert the permanent extreme. Of course, besides that, then the nearest extreme is not even existing conventionally. Now, according to the Swatantrika system, everything is able to function, cause and effect, and so forth, within existing from its own side. In other words, they say everything exists from its own side, and on that basis, cause and effect, karma and results, and so forth, they all work. And they say that Chittamantra and below are all proponents of the permanent extreme. And the reason for that is that they all, in some way, assert true existence. For example, the Chittamantras, they do assert that certain phenomena are truly existent. And so, for the Swatantrikas, the extreme of permanence is everything being truly existent. The nearest extreme is the same. You're not even existing conventionally. But for them, they don't say that the permanent extreme is things existing from their own side. They say the permanent extreme is things being truly existent. By things, I mean like everything which exists. So for the Prasangika system, karma and its results all function on the basis of not existing from their own side. In other words, they don't exist from their own side, and it's on that basis that they're able to function. So you have these two types of Madhyamika, namely the Prasangikas and the Swatantrikas. Both of them are Madhyamikas, therefore they are proponents of the middle way, free of two extremes, but the way that they assert these two extremes is different. When it comes to, and where they differ is in terms of how they assert the permanent extreme. For the Prasangikas, the permanent extreme or eternalist extreme would be phenomena existing from their own side, whereas for the Swatantrikas, it would be phenomena existing truly, and they would agree when it comes to the nihilist extreme, which is the extreme of things not even existing conventionally.
아니 되는 엄마가 많이 장 엄마가 인식 캐내네 되네 엄마 되세야지 아니 엄마 되네 두수기 아니 최탐지 겨와라서 봐 대권한이도 좀 맞을 집에 대다 겨와라서 봐스리 겨와라서 봐서 다 최탐지 지난주들이 겨와다 미지와라서 봤다 주제도 많이 최탐제스 겨와라서베 겨와라서베 소바스 다 겨와라서베스 최탐제스야다 대코나니도 좀 맞을 집에 리베니 손에 남기 봐도 최탐제 캐바인데스 다 대코나니를 집에 리베 아니 리바디기 손에랑기 바지 최탐제 캐바리스 리바디 되네 캐바인데스 다티 캐단 가르레스는 아니 아다 캐바리스 제니 다티 캔디 캐바리스 캔이 맞지 다 되니디기 겨와라스베 대관이 최탐제 대관이 주베리 베이스드 더도 주베리 버스야 되리 대관이 사라시 요는 레시 유미 주베리 베이스 리바티기 아니 순내남기 봐도 최탐제 캐버리스 매버디 딥 더도 주베리 버티 아니 캐버리 까버리 있어야지.
Okay, let's look at this passage again. Most of those who today claim to teach the meaning of Madhyamika. So what this means is that they claim to be Madhyamika philosophers, proponents of the middle way, in other words, centrists. They claim to be that. They claim to teach that, but they're not really Madhyamikas. Why? Because what they say is that all phenomena ranging from forms through omniscient consciousness are refuted by a rational analysis of the production and such exist as their own reality. Let's see, who did all phenomena ranging from forms through omniscient consciousness are refuted by rational analysis of you have to go on. Refuted by rational analysis of whether production and such exist as their own reality. So when it says production and such, or production, etc., that includes everything which exists, everything which is produced and everything which is not produced. Everything which exists is included in that. And so what they say is that so like the rational analysis of the way of being, like the suchness of things, a phenomena which is the same as, it means the same as the rational analysis into the ultimate way of being of phenomena. That they say that analysis refutes, is that the word she's used? Okay, yeah, refutes, in other words, negates all phenomena from, all of those phenomena, whether they are produced or whether they're non-produced phenomena. All of those are refuted. That's what they say. And as for how it is that they establish that position, that view. So it says, for all phenomena from forms through omniscient consciousness are refuted by rational analysis of whether production and such exist as their own reality. That's the suchness, actually, I think there. That's their own reality. For when reason analyzes anything that is put forward, there is not even a particle that can withstand analysis. Also, all four possible ways that something could be produced as an existent effect, non-existent effect, and so forth are refuted, and there is nothing that is not included in those four. So what they're saying is, for example, if we say that form exists, then when you analyze form, which means with a rational analysis into the reality or the reality of form, then it can't withstand that analysis, which means that it's refuted by such an analysis. And they say there are scriptures that substantiate that. So there are scriptures that say that there is nothing that can withstand such an analysis. In other words, everything is refuted by such an analysis. And they have scriptures, scriptural sort of authority for this, because there are scriptures which say that if you analyze phenomena to see whether they exist, or whether they exist in the four extremes, or four possibilities, let's say, then they can't be found as existing in any of those four extremes. Therefore, they don't exist. So in other words, the four extremes of existing, not existing, being both existent and non-existent, and being neither existent nor non-existent. So if you were to say that form exists, then it should exist in one of those four extremes. But since it doesn't exist, and it cannot be found, in any of those four extremes, therefore it doesn't exist. So you say form exists, but it doesn't exist in any of these four extremes, does it? Therefore, it doesn't exist at all. And so, so it should be that it either exists or it's non-existent. Anything that you care to name, it's got to be either existent or non-existent, or both existent and non-existent, or neither existent nor non-existent. Since it doesn't exist in any of those ways, you have to say it doesn't exist at all. So it's in that way the existence of form is the object to be negated. So now at this point, what I want to ask you your feeling about is this: that now there's a lot of text that comes up in this section. There's a lot of scriptures and so on, but then on page 129, just towards the top there, it says showing that those assertions are wrong. So if we were to skip to that part of the section, then the assertions would become clear anyway, because they're going to be refuted. So shall we just carry on with the text, or shall we skip to?
Skip.
I think you've been outvoted, I guess.
Yes, yes. Democracy.
So I'm just laughing because I said most of them are saying should skip it. Should skip it. Maybe. So the thing is, we're talking about jumping, right, to the next part. Thing is, when you jump, sometimes you might end up falling in the water.
다들 준비할게 주제.
Okay, so we'll jump ahead of it.
이번에 밑에 봤던 말라니스 로디 우메 투문 마인데 제주 까봐 템바스 다디 가이직 캡처 등에 되게 다 우메 투문 마인데 제주 까두리스 거기야리스 다 우메 투문 마인데 제주 까단데 시리야 근데 dimete niva dimete vartem balanis ludi situ kaji khap chawan duine ludi ume thumu mai be kheju ka vartem bas ani yeje galcha le khe lemba yina ta ume thumu mai be kheju ka do ai odi isa ta te ume thumu mai be
So here we're on page 129, and if we look at the headings, it says showing that those systems. So those systems means the systems which assert an object of negation which is too extensive, too broad, and yes, so it's that one. In other words, the ones that says the system that says that everything is to be negated, showing that those systems contradict the unique feature of the Madhyamika. So by what this is saying is that by making such an assertion, they are contradicting a unique feature of the Madhyamika, and so that unique feature is what's going to be explained next.
다때네 우메 케주 무슨와들라 담부들라 다 케주 까바 템바들이야 우메 케주 무슨와 스지체 루디 지더까베 가지 캡처 되니 되기 우메 케주 컨주디 까두리스 레버와 컨주디 바스 에라 우마베 네지다데바스 루디 지달까베 추다 텔라 우마베 렌지다 순두가 데다 담보 우메 캐주 무슨와들이
So to explain this, there are 3 points. So we can see these here in the middle of page 129. First of all, identifying the distinguishing feature of the Madhyamika, which above it just said that system negates or contradicts, negates, refutes. Then, secondly, showing the second one shows how it is that that system negates this special feature of the Madhyamika, and then the third one is how the Madhyamikas respond to that attempt to negate that special feature. No.
다디 다 오메 케주 투모 마이베 케주 무슨와들이 리버트 주바세 다디 우마 원불루두기 리버트 주바레스 개와디 주근 선음이시 초조 초사디 선음이시 렌주에 담보군이 터버쇼스 다디 급수 리버트 주베 급수 아니 우리 투모 마이베 아니 캐주디들이 투모 마이 우메베 투모 마이베 캐주디 어디 디가 쉐버 캐주디리 예스제버
And James is saying that that this verse from Nagarjuna's 60 stanzas of reasoning expresses this unique feature or unique feature, distinguishing feature of the middle way system. So through this virtue may all beings amass the collection of merit and wisdom and attain the true sublime embodiments, the true kayas that arise from merit and wisdom.
Daddy 가르쳐네. 티버 초기 죄배 주전남 죄불급수 추구 담바당 수구 담바니 토바니스 다디 담바군이 토바쇼세디 담바군이부터 담바군이 토바쇼세다 티버 초기 세디 티버 첨복이 있어요. 네. 이제 티바라 이제 티바 티징이 티바 숨이야봐. 이나네 티바 초기 아니 저게 아니 뒤전남기 다디 뒤전남기 제르급수 추구 담바당 수구 담바니 토바디스 추수 거니 토발라세트리 Tadi jeluka lasha. Jeluka ki ani chubu tambata tubu tambani tobatis je. Tobala tobat tadi jeluka yele chubu tambata subu tambani muti tambakuni tobasho se tambakuni muti ti ale tiche jeluka ki chubu tambata subu tambani muti isha.
So let's see, through this virtue, so the order is different in the Tibetan, but that's okay. There are 4 lines here. The last line says, Damba Kuni Tobasho. So may they achieve the true holy, it just says true holy things, true holy. What it means is the holy Rupakaya or form body of a Buddha, and the holy the Dharmakaya, the truth body of the Buddha. So that's talking about the result. So it's talking about the resultant stage. It's talking about the result that the practitioners of the supreme vehicle, which refers to the Mahayana, the great vehicle, because we talk about 3 vehicles: the vehicle of the hearers, vehicle of the Sochiras, and then the great vehicle, the Mahayana. So the practitioners of the supreme vehicle, in other words, the Mahayana, that's the result that they achieve.
Jebuka Giti Tobati Karisana Lamji Kapsu Ngarishabatar City, Sunmishi Tsotush, Sunmishi Leju Sesuma Lamji Kapsu, Ngarishabatara Tabdan Shirap Yama Jeres Gewati City Ngarishabatara Tabda Shirap Yamajere Sunam da Ishigi so bad never Sabale Rale la Situta Unibu de Tovala, Lamginegusu Tabdashiro Yamateva Tashi Yamateva and the Sunam da Ishigi so bad never Sabala Rale but is
And then in answer to the question, well, how do they achieve those 2 kayas as a result? Then to explain that, it says in this verse, and you can see this is explained in the text that follows, that they achieve it by practicing practicing method and wisdom without separation, by way of which they're able to create like limitless collections of merit and wisdom.
Tadi 다 수능 이시 초 사발을 가르고 그랬으면 대야 아니 수능 그초 사고 예를 수능 그초 사발을 대야 군조배 군제 남기 교대ले 교대ले 평연당 니니 제부대다디 주에 군제기 제바 니에바 니에바라 이 타반에 이 타반에 좀바 다니 대바치 딘지지 대바 좀바 니에바 토스 니에바 니 타반에 니에바 좀바치 구비야리스 다 간제 다 딘지기 선음다 이시도 초 사발라 가르고레스는 군족 군제기 남샤기 주딜레테 베나 주딜 주개와 제발라테니 아니 제부 대화 중아 이 메가와 제발라테니 제부 동네 중아 주대다 준제 남기 주딜레 팽당 니미기 제부 제단디 중시드 그래서는 주제와 제발했더니 제부 대화 중. 요 메가발을 제발했더니 제부 아니 동네 중앙 이부디 대단디 중에 군제기 네바 군제기 제발은 네바 띵 인 타반에 종배치 구비하랬어. 다 렌제기 제바 렌제기 제발라 인 타반에 아니 네바 띵 추바 진예바 구비하랬어. 그 저발을 제발은 제부터와 그 메가발을 제는 제부 동네 중. 딩이 예부지 아니 가르쳐 그래. 아니 편주 메트발라 네바 띵이 니바 구비하랬어. 제자들의 지대매 양답에 따와서 렌제 추이신도 또배 아니 주제와를 제발을 때는 제부 대화 중거리 동네 중말이 중매가와를 제발을 때는 제부 동네 중거리 미시 대화 중말이 쓰잖아요. 또 별로 들라 지대매 양답에 따와서 그래. 어떻게 때문에 경제 편주이다 편유대 님이니부디 경제기 잡아라 다 경제기 잡아라 예바 띵다 경제기 잡아라 쓰지 저 잡아잖아 저 대화 연구해 봐 뒤대화 지우지 또 메고 왔잖아 제부 동네 연구해 봐 teleba nyabating subachi nyabachi kubiyari iche chiksa dite
Kana te ngeshiki kores.
yawa ngeshi yabuchi nyekuri
No. And so, how is it then that such a practitioner would gather these collections of merit and wisdom, or exalted wisdom, exalted wisdom? How would they do that? So, in order to do that, then they have to gather a limitless collection of merit. So, how do they do that? How they do that is by gaining a very firm certainty regarding the way that karma and its results work on the level of the what we call the conventional level of things. So what this means is understanding that from virtue comes happiness and from non-virtue comes suffering. Understanding that these never get mixed up. It's never the case that from virtue suffering will arise, that from non-virtue happiness will arise. So one needs to have this certainty right in the depths of one's heart and also that certainty should be really firm. That understanding of how virtue leads to happiness and non-virtue leads to suffering. And in fact, this understanding is referred to as the correct view, correct worldly view, or correct view for a worldly being. Somebody who hasn't, got the realization of emptiness. So it's the correct view, or the perfect view, perfect worldly view. The understanding that virtue leads to happiness, and never leads to suffering. That non-virtue leads to suffering and never leads to happiness.
다디 디지 예바데 종국이 데 내내데 선인 그 사야 사틀 내비 지데베 야다베 타와텔 테네 선인 그 소사게 다 지데네 데베 야다베 타와세 다 최탐제 라신 최탐제 랑궁을 그거 뒤tam이야 내발라 내바 띵니 예바 제타와라 예바 토발 예바 뜻 제사 네 최탐제다 띵니 예베 제타와스다 선음 그초 20초 사발라 최탐자랑 랑을 그거 뒤tam이야 내베 예바 띵니 예베 아니 제타와 예바 토바티 예바 그 뜨고 다티 제타와 시게 최단자라 시게 예바 따리 따와들 제타와 제타베 나 추스게 다 그랬어 이 시게 초스게 주부디 선은 그 초스게 대 제타와도베 단지디 지대는 야대베 따와서야 되지. 대 지대는 대베 야대베 따와서게. 동리도 별로더라. 다 띵이는 내가 띵 수배지고 비야. 이면은 치마지면은 쓰는 거죠. 소담 내버리. 제가 이식을 줘. 어디에서 예배 지다와 내봐. 지다와 내봐 토발라. 예발 때디 띵이가 매나 타다 싫은 이게 남 차상와 이 타반에 올라가면 주의체 다지 딩이 매나 아니 타다 싫은 남 차상와라 이 타반에다 로바티 매 이거 말이 지데 지우디 지다가 주저와 제발 때는 레부터와 시야티 지템베 야타베 타와티바 티 탑데 싫은 탑들이 탑신이 있어야 돼. 선언도 초월이. 나시그 최근에 시그 내가 뒤에야 내가 또 따와들라. 아니 싫은 그 차스게 탑신이거든. 근데 초인이거든 이 시그 초스게. 어다 뒤니 차도를 띵네. 로바 미주이체. 대다른 제비값을 군이 터가요. 그 남기네가 어디들이 달려들이.
If you don't have that view, that correct worldly view, which, as I explained, means firm certainty that from virtue comes happiness, from non-virtue comes suffering. Without that, then you cannot gather the collection of merit. So the way that you gather merit is through that correct worldly view. Now let's look at the collection of wisdom. Is that what he calls it? Yeah. Okay. So immeasurable collections of merit and sublime wisdom. Okay. So they use the sublime wisdom rather than exalted wisdom. It just doesn't matter which you use really. So for that, then you need to understand that the cause and effect and so forth, that there is nothing which has even a particle of existence from its own side. So that that's non-existence from its own side, or lacking even a particle of existence from its own side, is what we call the it's let's see, we've got these two expressions like as it is and the multiplicity and the as it is. I can't remember what the other expression they use for that, but anyway, it's the as it is, as things are, the ultimate way of being. So that's the ultimate phenomenon, or the phenomenon, the Dharma, which is the way of being of things, the ultimate way of being. And realizing that is realizing the correct non-worldly view. Okay, so in other words, for the collection of merit, you need the worldly view, which is understanding that in relation to karma's results, that virtue leads to happiness, non-virtue leads to suffering. For the collection of exalted wisdom or sublime wisdom, you need the transcendental view, or the non-worldly, the view which is beyond the world, which is the understanding that nothing has even a particle or an atom of existence from its own side. So without the worldly view, you have no way of gathering the collection of merit. And without the non-worldly view, then you have no way of collecting the gathering the collection of the exalted wisdom. So then if you're lacking in these two, then there will be no way for you to engage in a heartfelt practice of method and wisdom. So when we're talking about the worldly, the correct worldly view, that's like that's on the side of method. When we talk about the view that transcends the world, that's gone beyond the world, then that's to do with the wisdom side. So the method side is likewise associated with or corresponds to the collection of merit, and then the wisdom side corresponds to the collection of exalted wisdom.
Dati gare sena tenju belu ji keju kanga kanjori. Tika gare sena chetamje yoba ma insila gare ba. Ne insu gyureg nam shakar. Gyureg nam shakar ba insale ani sonam ki choti sabetar nebare. Sonam ki choti sabetar. Sonam ki sati ju jawa jivala tene debu jawa juma. Ju megawa debu megawa ka tunge juma la di chuba meba tobe tene tene gewala jumba jida ani dibo ponga jumba chikugera. Tati ka sunga tisne juje dewa kanga ka pare. Shitamji yoba mayi situ tene tene ya jene jamba tene ji janju senga suba usukanga ka dore. Ka indita sonam so sad ka parva. Dati ani the sonam gitso sabat ka baina tarshi sundu jawati medres. Lamjika su tarshi sundu jawati medres. Rashi meba tawa tamki minjiba. Ani junjegi namsha kar sonam gitso sabat kubiares. Tadashira sundu jawati kubiares. Tadashira sundu jawati chuma sunga ansigere. Kare sene tabji chokanga ka sunga ansigere. Just 람지 값수 탑시 송도 되어도 매나 제부 값수 고도 송 주바디야 말이죠. 추수군이 송도 주바디 매리스. 어다디 매바 인다 카리스는 아 단대 계란 그 제바이나 최 담제 여바 많이 까도르버스 까비냐스는 규제 남차 담제 까도르스. 얘네 규제 남차 메테바도르스. 그래서는 아니 선은 저 사바디야 말이스. 수련은 저 사바를 규제 남차 텐데도 조시 붙고 그래스. 다디 지 가스나 이 가단데
Now, as for how that position, that early position, how it negates the distinguishing feature, the unique, this unique characteristic of the middle way. What they have said is that all phenomena are non-existent. In other words, there's nothing which exists. So they've said that nothing exists because everything has to be negated. So nothing exists. Because they've negated all phenomena, within that you have cause and effect. So that's been negated. And if you think that cause and effect don't exist, then you have no method for gathering the collection of merit, because to gather the collection of merit, you would need to understand that from virtue comes happiness, from non-virtue comes suffering, and you would engage in a practice of you would engage in virtuous actions. Your practice would be characterized by engaging in virtuous actions, avoiding non-virtuous actions. But here you think that there is no cause and no effect, no karma results. So you wouldn't practice virtue, you wouldn't practice generosity and so forth. You wouldn't have such a practice. So there would be no way to gather the collection of merit. And because of that, therefore, you would have no union of method and wisdom at the level of the path. Just understanding that things don't exist from their own nature is not enough for you to be able to achieve those two kayas. In other words, to practice the path that leads to those two kayas, you need a union of both method and the wisdom. Wisdom alone is not enough. So you wouldn't have the method. You have to gain those results. You have to have a union of the two, and you wouldn't have that union because you don't have the method. Because of that, therefore, you don't attain the two kayas. So it's important to understand that order, because you think that nothing exists, therefore you think cause and effect don't exist. Therefore, you don't. You're refuting virtue leading to happiness, non-virtue leading to suffering. Therefore, you're not going to practice accordingly. Therefore, you're not going to create merit. Therefore, you're not going to have a union of merit and of method and wisdom at the path. And therefore, you're not going to achieve the two kayas, the rupa kaya and the dharma kaya, as a result of the practicing a union of method and wisdom. So that's how that position negates or contradicts the Madhyamika's special feature.
다 간제 다 대주수 추구 추수군이 손도 대화도 토발라 아니 람드수 선음 초다 22초 순지 등함선한 거리 있지. 내가 가르고래 시주수 대니 순지 등 조시에 거리. 아 그런 시주수 대니 순지 대니 조토바 중요한 말이에요. 그래서 시주수 그래서 그래. 군도에 다 양반이 있잖아요. 군도 양반이 조투야 말이에요. 시주수 대니 송주도 Then be good. Then you soon did to tell Babati Yamari Karesana. She Chujin Ganga Kasuna. Chuji Gangati Tadujuberry Shitimari. Jeba Ditina, near Yamari. Never isn't the Kabaris. But the Tadujuber Jebe Rishiki Jebana. Never Yamari. Never is Kabaris. Situta. Karesugri. Cherashi never done Pavin, but I should never done a Pavin do something. Tanya do you what got? Tanya do you what they do you do? Rashi to what this job me to. To me to be inside that Danish soon did to she do so Danish soon did to soon to Jubati. She do to Danish soon did to Josh about the manner. Lamdu so Sanam the issue to soon telling them so never the Mari. I didn't have in Tedu Chubu. Ye, Chusu Kunitobati Amari studied Gatan the Karesina. Kushidu Deni soon to do the Joe to Masuna. Rashina Batan Pavidu. Any tiny do with Gasuna. Tiny do what the Yadu do, Rashina Bati to Semer. That is an Tachan Jevina. Umelu scheduled to my scheduled cover. The Gada Garesina Chusu Kuni Tobalan, Lamdusu, Sanam Daishi, Tony, soon to tell the Kuku. Della Garesini, she did so many soon did to Joshua. But the Jumasunas, Denny soon did to Joe. Denny said the Garesina. Rashi never did and not the Marabchire. Tiny do you what the Kunjo Timber Shaura? Rashi never done a permit to them, but tiny do you what your mission. Tiny do your race to them, but Rashi you what the John mission. Meshiva yes, that ye the missioner need that to get gun or is just that channel to other and they Kaji short thing yet till that never to get you is.
In order to achieve the two kayas, the two bodies, the form body and the truth body, as a result, in other words, as we usually express it, at the time of the result and the time of the path, you need to be able to practice a union of method and wisdom. To be able to do that, you need to be able to posit a union of the two truths at the time of the basis. And you haven't been able to do that. This is how the argument is going. How is that? Is because of the two truths, you're supposed to be able to posit a union of the two truths. In other words, the all obscured truth, usually called the conventional truth, so the all obscuring truth, or truth for a concealed, truth for an obscured mind, and the ultimate truth. Those two. So things existing conventionally generally is a conventional truth, or the truth for the obscured mind. Things not existing by their own nature is ultimate truth. So you haven't been able to posit a union of those two because you haven't been able to posit conventional truth. Why that is that you have said that everything is to be negated. And therefore, because you say, when you analyze anything with the rational analysis, analyzing the way of being or the ultimate mode of phenomena, you can't find them. When you say it can't be found, then you say that means that they've been negated, so they don't exist. And so, therefore, you haven't been able to, you're not able to posit conventional truth, because you're not able to posit things existing conventionally, and that's what's meant by conventional truth. That's what conventional truth implies. So you say that when things don't exist by their own nature, therefore they don't exist even conventionally. Therefore, you can't posit conventional truth. Therefore, you can't posit a combination of conventional truth and ultimate truth. You can't posit a combination of those two truths. Therefore, so that's at the time of the basis. Therefore, because you can't posit the two truths at the time of basis, you can't posit and you can't practice a union of method and wisdom at the time of the path. And since you're not able to practice a union of method and wisdom, then you won't be able to achieve the resultant two kayas. So, yeah. So the thing is, for you, not existing from its own side means that a thing doesn't even exist conventionally. And because you can't even posit the conventional existence of things, then you're not able to posit the truth for an obscured mind. And it's in this way that you're negating or contradicting, as it says in the text, the unique feature of the Madhyamika, which is that, and this is expressed in that verse, you achieve the two kayas by practicing a union of method and wisdom, and at the time of the path. And that practice of method and wisdom is based on the being able to posit a union of the two truths at the time of the basis.
Chaba umabas, dini umaba matobas, dedan debu kus, wadati, dedan debu kuni tobe, julamgi nega ne michuba, michubas, ne michuba. He dawatana bela, dati, dedan debu kaps to kuni tobe. Tobes, you tobe guti lamgi negasu. Lamgi ne michuba, that's when you soon get to Yamsme but Kuyerva. A lamgi, you lamgi ne michuba. Ta lamgi ne lamgi, you lamgi ne michubati, she tawaten, then a regular rallies. She tahoti, she goes to Deni, and it's Sundi to Joshevich Kuyarba. She Tawatiana Bibula Ralewe. Tawatiana Bibu Deni, Yamata to Sheve, Denila, Neba, Dienos, that Mata to Sheve, Denila, Neba, Denil, Tikundo Tembata, Tundam Tembasia Tereba. Rashi Mevati, Tendam Tembatice, Tani do Yavati, Tendam Tembareva. The she goes to the Gemit Josh, but she could be a Timerna. Tell them that Yamata to shave a Daniel and never Dino. Dini Umabala Matobas, Dini Umaba. Matoba Kasa Shinsu Moriam Gavadura Tunes Umaba Matoba Ane Kasa Shinsu Moriam Tan Gantu Janja Tui Rashi Bitulakana kundu temba jomishi. Kundu temba jomi the rachim prabati jomishi. I Gasa Umapa Masho. Yani Gasa Kangolo did 2 years. Kusu Moraya, Gawadur, Tone, Megawar, Che Mishiba, La Trashi Zamba, Shinto Gaji, Namjudan Debe, Kaba Umapa, Sheba Days, or the Italian Dinich, I mean, so did the Joe Sheba Debe, Shir. 차시 잠바스 네 싫어 차시 지고 다 신도 신도 자체가 잠바 신도 자체 남자한테 스타트 엄마빠게 쉐바디 잠바니 또게 탑라 케바 게지 잠이야 매버 때는 털네 야외 공부 털도 니에티 되었더니 라니 덤바가 신도 그가 내주와 게베 장베 나치 남버를 따바 신데다 가지고 애니 땡지 되버를 주에 땡지 니베 동베 네베 때문에 스타들이 어디 다디 제롬 치다디 캐주 something uma basset dati kanjeti tandeti cheba uma pa mato pachini ani kangalo ganto suares gawadua sidu gawani shiji du tu ya marwa gawasuni ubetendo rashi nebati Pumba Rashi me bata yan pemi du Pumba di jo me shiba. Pumba jo yin du Pumba Rashi du Pumba di me shi jiga Rashi ma Pumba ten pe mantuba. Jiga gawa duwa se titi, gandu se tu gawa duwa. Ade gandu pashi tu sone se atiri. Ta kyaba oma pa gita shi me do su. Teni yiga shi jiga tendo. Mingawa Joshiba. Pumba Tani to Yebatam, Pumba Rashi Mebas. Pumba Tani to Umape, Pumba Tani to Yer. Pumba Rashi next Yerba. Pumba Rashi Mega Tene Tani to Yeba to Joe to Yer, Tani to Yeba Tene, Pumba Rashi Meba Joe to Yer. Same Zamba. Thank you, Barashi. But I give a mature thing. But I think a man, but I need to never soon. Just a Pumbarashi never done, but I need to even Joe to the Yammer. Chodamjera Shingi years here. Rashing man may be so just a Pumbarashi never done, but I need to even Joe Shingy. Kaba Umaba, thank you very much. Nerva. 시지수 땡이 정도 교환 조치들이 시지기 때도.
Now we're looking at sort of page 583. That means in our text it's page 130. You can see at the end of the first paragraph there it says 583, so that's in the Tibetan text. So we're looking at the very top of page 583. So this is the key to the path that leads to the attainment of the two embodiments when the result is reached. Whether you get it right depends on how you establish your philosophical view of the basic situation, the base path and result. Right? The way to establish that view is to reach certain knowledge, the two truths, as I have just explained them. Except for Madhyamikas, other people do not understand how to explain these two truths as non-contradictory. They see them as a mass of contradictions. They see them as contradictory, in other words. However, experts possessed of subtlety, wisdom, and vast intelligence, experts called Madhyamikas, have used their mastery of techniques for knowing the two truths to establish them without even the slightest trace of contradiction. In this way, they reach the final meaning of what the conqueror taught. This gives them a wonderful sense of respect for our teacher and his teaching. Out of that respect, they speak with utter sincerity, raising their voices again and again. You who are wise, the meaning of emptiness of intrinsic existence, is dependent arising. It does not mean that things do not exist. It does not mean that they are empty of capacity to function. So we're looking at that paragraph there. And so what this is saying is, so what Jeremy is saying is that it's only the wise Madhyamikas that are able to posit the two truths on one basis. So if you think of the conventional truth, as we usually call it, the truth for an obscure mind, truth for a concealer, that's what that's talking about is things existing conventionally, and then ultimate truth is talking about things not existing from their own side. The wise Madhyamikas, Jeremy is saying, are able to posit these two truths on one basis, on one object. In other words, like for example, the vase, they're able to say the vase exists conventionally, and at the same time, they're comfortably able to posit it as not existing from its own side. They're able to say that the vase doesn't exist from its own side, and at the same time, they're able to say that it exists conventionally. This is not difficult for them. Anybody else will see these two as contradictory. They are going to think that if this vase exists conventionally, that means it has to exist from its own side. It can't be non-existent from its own side. If it doesn't exist from its own side, in general, then it has to be non-existent. So if the vase doesn't exist from its own side, it must be non-existent. They can't think it doesn't exist from its own side and it exists conventionally. They can't think at the same time it exists conventionally and it doesn't exist from its own side. So it's only, actually what it comes down to is it's only the Prasangikas that are able to do that.
That 당연히 대가리에서는 상계 중대대기 라시기 매바디 송이야 돈에 라시기 매바디 더 숨거려 디나시 상계 중대대기 오메 신대수지는 공부를 롱 때문에 그래서 롱 때문에 인사다 오메 여기 셰수되다 공부를 좀 제수단에 두고요. 나중에 상계 중대대기 당 상계 중대대기 롱 때문에 공부를 뒤에 진짜 러벨 다와 아니 그래서 그래 아니 러벨 미셔라 아니 어디들만 두수를 지어서다는 장국이야 봐. 다 두수를 때문에 나중에 대리 지어서 이지전을 두고 그래. 다 인상 나중에 최통자라 시기 매버 있으니야 유 당이 유서야 돼. 켈레 디레네 다 라시메 주디 이 카부야리 라기브 메체티 라신기 뒤에다 라시메는 매고 그랬어요. 다 탱교베 다워디 라신기 매베 때니 여버진 좋토야리 다워디 사데 다워디 탱교베 미시 좋토 매버 나는 다와를 바자지 좋고기는 다 공부를 좀 미쳐서 다네 아니 다와들 바자지 자고 샤고야 먼저 이제 샤고에서 먼저 다 라시기메 이어서고요 하면서도 다 라시기메 다데 가르레 전에 다 데를 삼다야 돼 남기 최담자는 시기매가 이거 타제 타니도 여배인 스젠 디타주 구비야 디타주 다데 다른 시기 매주 되게 지레도 도배 파다 좀 세야지 다디 수수 상무단이 되 공급의 매주 되게 라시기매 매번만이 유 라시기매 세야들 상무단이 다수수 물론 공지 제부에 야디 라시기매 주도 수수지 상무단 야디 테메데 상무 근데 상무단 다디네 디데버메네야 라시기매단디 그대로도 파상무단 이제 예번이 캐니 레시 매번이 캐니 구비야 다라시 매주대 수수 상도지다 이게 대부중 맞추는 양 맞추면서는 다 수수 상도다인들 심매의 상도다인데 이게 파서도 상도다 다들 상도다인데 공부치고요 다 이제 최근에 동바 세대의 신임에 선물을 타제제 타니도 세대 타제제 다 타니도 때문에 신임에 세대 조지 카부야 이 카부에서 다 신임에 주디 가르래 또배 파다 좀 유지디 가르래 다들 오늘도 지야지 데리야 samtankoya teta mashibato samrati taya te imbrita paja jogu yatila yang samrita sanje jumle teta gumbulu tu tiana phaba takara arandula nyeba niya biche takara samrita 아니 리버버틴데 삼 라시메데 삼 다리버만 부야바 미법었어요. 기다 산제제 라시메베 비제데 땡디 메체실라. 땡디 라시메 고단데 가르레스 아니 파삼도 로르 판티단데 셰버. 라시인데 세트레 샬메데 버르지. 그것들에서 라시인데 프로세나 유중간의 좁세도 유중간의 좁세도 시야는 몇 대가 좁이야. 따라 이기면 매제디 유중간의 좁세야디 시야는 몇 대가 좁아지고 매버지 상급단 게. 대규배라 신기 좁세야디가 시야는 몇 대가 좁아. 제 차를 치는 라이브에 라시기 메시지 그래 라시기 좁세야 돼. 시간을 몇번 줘가지고 매버. 다 로네멜은 나 오기 샤바 많이 봐야지. 좀 많이 배우면 줘봐야지. 라시기 좁세야 돼. 로네멜은 다 나랑 오기 샤바 많이 봐. 조수나 아니 돼. 가자래. 로네멜은 다 유익 르옹 파샤부터 유익원이 주변이 좀 지켜는 게 라주변 매체들이 라주변이 당간들이 삼는 거야. 다디 어디 다디 어디들이 다들
The Buddha taught in the sutras that there is nothing which exists by its own nature. And he also predicted that later on the great master Nagarjuna would come into the world. So he predicted he would be what we sometimes refer to as the charioteer, the one who, the pioneer, the one who re-established the Buddha's teachings on the middle way. And so all of the Madhyamikas trace their assertions back to Nagarjuna and to his disciples such as Chandrakirti, Shantideva, and so forth. And we in turn rely upon their teachings in order to understand the Buddha's teaching that there's nothing that exists by its own nature. So we're saying that everything is empty of existing by its own nature, and yet everything exists. And this is actually very difficult to reconcile, these two, not existing by its own nature, but conventionally existing. And in fact, you can see it's difficult because everybody below the Prasangika, when we think about the different tenet systems in Buddhism, everybody below Prasangika believe that if something doesn't exist by its own nature, it must be non-existent. It's only the Prasangikas, in fact, that are able to reconcile these two, to comfortably say that nothing exists by its own nature, and at the same time doesn't mean it doesn't exist at all. It still exists conventionally. So if we want to create the imprints of the Buddha's teachings as he actually taught, then we need to follow the teachings of Nagarjuna and those other great masters, and that way we will be really building up the positive imprint to be able to understand this in the future. So what we need to do is really think about these things, which means think about how there is nothing existing from by its own nature, and yet at the same time does exist conventionally. And we need to reflect on this and be decisive about it. So we can. What I mean by that is that we can say to ourselves, that's how things are, and then try to understand how that is, how it could be so. So the idea is there's nothing exists by its own nature. So we need to think about how things don't exist by their own nature, and yet they do exist conventionally. So we have to think about how these two fit together. And when we do, then we'll find it quite uncomfortable. When you say something it doesn't exist by its own nature, it can't be found. At the same time, it does exist conventionally. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist at all. So one needs to just simply persist in reflecting on this and meditating on it, and gradually, come to an understanding in that way. Understanding that things exist conventionally, which means that they're merely labeled or imputed from the side of the conceptual mind, and don't exist from their own side. Don't exist, but still they exist, and that's how they exist, merely labeled from the side of the mind. And so then so we need to go into this as deeply as we can. Try to think about what it really means to say nothing exists by its own nature. Everything exists merely everything is merely imputed from the side of the mind, and gradually gain the imprints. So the way that the Buddha taught is that nothing exists from its own nature or by its own nature because of being a dependent arising. So when we talk about existing by its own nature or not existing by its own nature. Existing by its own nature means not depending upon anything else. Existing, in other words, without depending upon or without and existing. So we talk about things existing relative to something else, okay? So not relative to anything else, not depending upon anything else. And the Svatantrikas and below, they all say that things do exist by their own nature, but they don't say that everything is completely independent of anything else. It's the Prasangikas that take the understanding of existing by its own nature to a deeper level, a more subtle level, and say that actually, if you say that things don't exist by their own nature, you're going to have to accept that they don't depend upon anything. Even though the Svatantrikas and below who say things do exist by their own nature, don't accept that things are exist absolutely independently of anything else. So this is connected with the different way in which the object of negation is formulated by these two systems. So in the case of the Prasangikas, the object to be negated is existing by its own nature. The Svatantrikas say that things do exist by their own nature. That's not the object of negation. But then there needs to be a combination of two things. That things should be posited through appearing to a non-defective mind. So posited through appearing to a non-defective mind, and also existing through its own unique way of being. So it needs both of those, something from the side of the origin, something from the side of the mind. It should be posited through appearing to a non-defective mind, and it have its own unique, exist through its own unique way of being. So there should be a combination of those two. If you were to say that something exists through its own unique way of being, its own unique special way of being, without and it isn't posited through appearing to a non-defective mind, that would be the object of negation. Because for the Svatantrikas, you need both. It should exist through appearing or be posited through appearing to a non-defective mind, and exist through its own unique way of being. If you say it only exists through its own unique way of being and not through being, isn't posited through appearing to a non-defective mind, that would be for them true existence, the object to be negated. So we're going to have to stop there. Time's up.
Yeah, I know what it is. She negotiates Dani Sundit Josiah, Dani said, and she made by Dani Yoba Jotuna. And she made it in a tiny to Yoba Jotuna, Dani Sundit Joba said it. Yeah, tiny to Yoba said this one of the Ranking make a Yoba Jotubas in a dear Dani Sundit Jotubas here. She gave me a tiny to give us in a thing is to us here. That is it.
No. There's one important thing I want to add. This is important. When we talk about being able to posit a union of the two truths, what that means is being able to posit phenomena as existing conventionally and yet not existing by their own nature. Likewise, not existing by their own nature and yet existing conventionally. So that's what it's meant by positing a combination of or a union combination of the two truths.
That's a Lamginego Sony Sundi to Yamsame said, Sony said, Sonong to Tartubar the Janjuk Semaraj. Then Jamba the Ninja the Janjuk some Ganga Sonong Chori. Chiso Pachi, True Nan, Chibada, 쓰는 거 좋다. 탈을 투버려부터 자주 그 세면체. 이식의 초들의 마부야리 뒤는 이식의 초 탈도버티 라시메버도 따와티체. 뒤에 숨디도 냠슬람 바스야티 아니 시럽 장주그 심기 심베 따와 심베 장주그 심스 뒤니 민보 냠슬람 버티 고기야리 남기네 것수.
So at the time of the basis, you need to be able to posit a combinational union of the two truths in that way that I've just mentioned. Then at the time of the path, you need to be able to practice a union of method, at the time of the path, you need to be able to gather the two collections, the collections of merit and the exalted wisdom in union. So you have to have a practice for the two in union. Now, when we talk about the collection of merit, the sort of like the ultimate collection of merit would be bodhicitta. It also includes loving kindness, compassion, amongst the six perfections. For example, the perfection of generosity, morality, and so forth. But like the prime, ultimate sort of collection of merit that would be the bodhicitta. And then likewise, when we talk about the collection of exalted wisdom or sublime wisdom, as it says here, there are many also varieties of this, and amongst those, the ultimate one, in the sense of like the exalted wisdom par excellence kind of thing, would be the exalted wisdom realizing emptiness. And so practicing these two in union, what that means is practicing them in such a way that each supports the other, or actually literally like it's held by the other. So you need to go practice the merit side held by the exalted wisdom, such that it's held by the exalted wisdom. When you're practicing the exalted wisdom, it's held by or supported by the what's called the merit side.
That's it. Sonam gitso singi di chimbala sobatu simba chanju simla sobatu sugi sugu tuji chigiyari. Ani di mena sugu tuji men barba. Ta toni to be sherab tigi rashima bato be tawa tigi ani sugu tuji chigiyari. Ishi gitso seati sugu tuji to sugu tuji tilasiyari. Sonam gitso seati to sugu tuji tilasiyari. Jasan lamjine go sutini nyamsulam balatini ani drebine go chusu kuni tutubiyari.
And so we have generosity and so forth, bodhicitta and so on. These are mainly what is referred to by the expression the main cause of the rupakaya. Maybe I'll put that a little bit awkwardly. When we're talking about the rupakaya, then we have to ask the question: well, what's the main cause of that? So the main cause of that would be generosity and so forth, and bodhicitta, those ones. And what that means is that without those, then you're left with nothing which will create that form body. You won't be able to create that form body. And then the wisdom, it's mainly the wisdom realizing emptiness, which is what creates the acts as a cause for creates the truth body. So without that, then you wouldn't be able to. You'd have nothing which is creating the truth body. So you need both of those.
That is shashan. That is. I need the Joy in a humanity time.
So, so it would be just right to stop there today. If there are any questions, then we can have them next time.
One quick question. Do we have class next week?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so can you send it out to the?
BTDS.
I don't think we need to send it out.
Sapasan Jima
Because
BTDS.
some people is
Kids
not
ticket.
here.
Yores.
This is not, yeah.
No, there's someone that's two people.
Gary King here.
So what would it clash with? Why wouldn't we be having?
No, it's not. It says there no class in the schedule.
네. 그래서 미강을 이메일 당도아. 네가 아니 그 사파상 제마도 민두스 베지 민두스도. 지선 요리용을 시키시도. 인경아서는 요리식도 되기도 다 요리스.
Yeah, 맞습니다.
Remember the yore, because you know it.
Next
It's
Friday.
in order,
next
sir.
time.
Oh, that was just a mistake. So it was just a mistake.
Good, that's it.
Oh.
Don't is that.
Okay,
Sorry, it was a mistake.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. 네, 자주 생존.
rinpoche ma ke pa na ki gu chi ke pa nyam pa me pa kong du pa wa shu ko e shin gan de pen dan de wa ma de jung we ne che ne de wan ten jing ga so sha pe zi de pa du ten gu ru chi